It was a lovely sunny day in Athens, and during that hot day, Heracles, the hero, went for a swim in the south, which is Sonian. And there he was enjoying himself and having fun as he swam in the sea, and he was quite a good swimmer. But after some minutes, which is 30 minutes later, he made a wish which was at the same time incredible but insane. The wish was that he rose his arms up and said, "I wish I was a giant shark measuring 17 meters long and that it was a apex predator." By hearing the sound, Poseidon went out of the sea and heard the wish of Heracles. Heracles, who was a bit careless, didn't know that he was in fact talking to the sea god. And therefore Poseidon appears and said, "Well, Heracles, if this is what you wish, your dream will become true." So Poseidon pointed his trident towards the hero as there were the electric field coming out from the trident, and the electric energy struck Heracles on the chest, and there comes the countdown of 48 hours. However, Heracles was not aware. He felt a strange feeling, and he went back home in Athens. There in Athens, he was buying seafood like fish, squid, and octopus for the future dinners and lunch. There at home, he chose to eat the fish without cooking it, and he ate the fish with the scales on it. That was quite a worrying situation. The next day, Heracles went out for a swim again, as it is the summer. But however, this time he went in the ocean or the sea, but remained 5 minutes underwater. But as he got out, Hermes, the god of the messengers, came to Heracles to warn him about the countdown. And he even told that he warned Zeus, and he saw everything. Heracles was very worried, but there was nothing he could do. During the night, he ate the seafood meal, but unlike fish, which was the previous night, he ate the octopus. Before he took the taxi for the south of Attica, which is Sonia, he warned his 3 friends to come and see the scenery. There, as you could see, Heracles walks in the water barefooted, and by the time his friends came to him, it was a bit too late. The reason why is that he was already at bay, that is very far away. When he heard the voice of his friends, he splashed into the water and swam until deeper waters. By the time Heracles came out of the water, it was just 8 seconds before the transformation. In this scenery, Heracles surfaced out of the water, but by the time he pokes his head out, the transformation was just about to start. And as you could see, the transformation takes place. The transformation, in other words, occurred before the eyes of people. It is dinner time for the shark. The Megalodon feels a disturbance in the water. He stalks a lonely sperm whale and applies the ambush type of attack. He goes down and attacks from behind. With sudden fury, Megalodon strikes. The shark bites off the pectoral fins of the sperm whale. Once the sperm whale has fins which are bitten off by the sharp teeth of the Megalodon, it won't go away. Without fins, a whale can't move away. And finally, after biting off the pectoral fins, the Megalodon attacks the caudal fin or the tail. Once the shark did its job of striking the whale, it leaves the whale to bleed to death. That took minutes for the whale to lose all the blood. In this scenery, the Megalodon came back to begin the feast on carcass. As the whale is alone, it is vulnerable. And as people say, union makes strength. Finally, the shark, after it ate the huge meal, it swam away. But there is one thing that the shark does not know. In this scenery, you could see the pieces of the whale which are washed away by the current. In other words, the shark didn't even notice that the pieces of his dinner were being washed away. On that beach, the pieces of the sperm whale, or the dead whale, were washed up on the shore. And there are pieces of teeth of the shark. Losing one tooth for a shark is not a big deal, as you have lots of teeth which grow back. In this scenery, one of the citizens of Greece spotted these giant teeth, and he is worried, and he is about to report this new fact to the other people. In this scenery, Petros is having a good time watching television in order to have some entertainment. But about 15 minutes later, Petros grew frustrated. The reason why is that his favorite movie has been interrupted by the flash or the heads out. The reporter is talking about the giant shark, and this is quite serious, and it is an urgent situation. In this scenery, Petros is now very worried. The reason why is that Petros saw the news about the shark, and as he is very worried, he turned off the television and took his phone, and he is about to warn the other people. Yorgos, without doubt, has a job. He is a cashier, and he doesn't want to be disturbed. And Yorgos said to Petros, "I hope you have a good excuse for disturbing me in my work." And afterwards, Petros informed a she friend to come to his house. Once the three people are united, or they join the conversation, Petros did inform what happened and what he saw. By hearing the type of worrying message, the three people say, "This is our friend and we don't want him to get killed." And Yorgos says he might be caught in the fishing nets on fishing nets are deadly walls, or the walls of death. They'll do everything in order to save the Megalodon or Heracles. Petros says we must save Heracles. Yorgos says, yes, but how? Have you seen the size of this shark? It is as big as a big plane. Petros says, yes, we can't do it all by ourselves, but by annexing our forces, we could save our friend. In this scenery, the people are united and they are having a meeting of how they would do to save this shark. Even the big guy was even worried about the news he saw on television.
Oh no.
Even the daughter of Poseidon is even worried. 5 days later, Hephaestus, the god of the forge, did help the people to build the submarine and even the shark cage in order to help them in the quest. Finally, Hephaestus did bring a boat that he forged for the companions. In fact, there was not one boat, there were 2 boats, and even Hephaestus stole some fish and turned them into baits. This scenery is the submarine, and the guy who is inside the submarine is about to explore the depths of the Aegean Sea. As you could see in this scenery, Yorgos is inside the shark cage and is a bit excited about this event. Meanwhile, while Yorgos is inside the shark cage, the people did bring wine with them. It is red wine, not white. However, due to the strength of the water currents, the water did bump and ram the decks of the ship or the boat, and this caused the wine bottle to tip over, and as the bottle is still full of wine, the drops of wine are still going out of the bottle, and finally this is going to attract the giant shark. In this scenery, Heracles, or the Megalodon, which was around the deep water, felt a disturbance and did smell the presence of the red wine, and he wants to go around and see what was wrong. He felt the disturbance, as I say, for the first scenery in the water. After some time, Yorgos saw a shadowy figure in the water, and the figure was very big. He was excited but even very worried. There in this scenery, this is a scary scenery. The reason is that the shark is coming close, and he wonders what is going on here. In that scenery, this is even scary for other people. This is the moment that the shark discovers a person inside the shark cage. The shark picked up the scent of fish inside this bait and tries to get a bite, but the bait was fished out. And afterwards, the shark went around and turned around the scenery and is very curious. In this scenery, Yorgos is taking his camera out and tries to take pictures of a shark, but he forgot to take out the flesh, and as the flesh got out of the camera, that did anger the shark. The Megalodon dashes at the shark cage and tries to bite off the cage. In fact, he tries to scare the person who does that type of thing to him. Afterwards, the shark jumped out of the water and did take a very big bite on the bait. There, the shark, due to its bite force and its tremendous strength, it did pull down the bait and the chain broke. The shark devours the bait and spits out the chain. There, the daughter of Poseidon calls upon her father. She calls her father in order to have a chat. Meanwhile, the Megalodon spots the submarine and wants to take a bite, mistaking it for a living object. There, the sea god Poseidon appears, and the people are just having a chat with the mighty god of the sea. And Poseidon was quite glad to have a chat with his daughter. Meanwhile, the shark did bite off the hind flipper of the submarine. But after some time, the submarine used the kind of sonar or radar which would drive the shark away. The shark doesn't like that type of noise in the water, so it just swims away. But the submarine is still chasing the animal. As you could see, this is a type of tube which sends that type of sonar. But after some points, the people on the boat did chase the shark, and afterwards they went on an island which is Milo in the south of the Aegean. And there Poseidon took his trident, and with the powers of the trident it fished out the shark and did put it on the beach. There the shark could not move. The reason why is that the shark is not meant to live on land, and its massive weight is about to crush it, and sooner the shark won't be able to survive. But Poseidon even sent a second laser beam, and there the laser beam is about to do something which is outstanding. But after some time, there, as you could see, the shark crashed down on the beach and stopped moving. There you could see the stars, and afterwards the most magnificent thing occurred. The shark was lifted in the air and was in the pillar of light. And there in the sky there were thunderbolts, lightning, and there came Zeus, the king of gods, and he inversed the type of transformation. And afterwards the hero grew the arms, the hands, which replaced the pectoral fins, the tail disappeared and grew legs, and the dorsal fin disappeared inside the back, and finally the head of a shark turned back into that of a human. But as the hero was turned back into a human, Zeus sent something to Heracles. He dressed him in a toga, which is a Greek toga, and the sandals, and did give him some big bracelets. In this scenery, you could see that Heracles is now a human. And 3 minutes later, he opened his eyes and sees his friends. And he was quite happy to see them. And he was wondering, what are they doing here? And why they're here. In this scenery, the people are being teleported away from the island until Salion, the south of Greece. Finally, this is the end of the scenery. Heracles and his friends were on the beach, and it is about to be the sunset in Greece. And Heracles is happy in the end.